intelligence and testing, the last part of cognition. So let's go over a couple things here. All right. Basically, the first thing is with intelligence. Is it one thing or many things? G refers to the idea that there's one thing called intelligence, general intelligence. Also, be aware, convergent thinking, you converge on one answer. Divergent means more than one, it's multiple answers. Intelligence tests usually measure convergent thinking. Be aware of some of the people like Spearman and Gardner. Be aware of the different people in the packet. All right, one thing on creative people tend to, as opposed to, they talk about creativity. Creativity is something valuable and new, imaginative thinking. Creative people are intrinsically motivated. They do it because they are interested in it. That gives you an idea of some of the intelligence tests. Okay, a little bit of some people here. All right. The first intelligence test was Binet, a French educator. And what he did was he looked at school kids and he took like 8-year-olds and he got norms or the average score of an 8-year-old, and that led to what they called mental age of like your ability level. Then Stanford Binet updated it, and then he took the mental age, and chronological age was how old someone is. He threw some math in. So what do we have? If you're 10 years old but you score like a 12-year-old, you have an IQ of 120. All right, and then for testing, some things to be aware of on curves. Well, first couple things. Mean is the average score, median is the middle score, and mode is the most frequent score. And on an normal curve, the mean, median, and mode should be in the middle, and it should be symmetrical. And just remember, and then there's, and those are measures of central tendency. The mean, median, and mode are all in the middle. All right. Then variability is how spread out the curve is. And just remember what a curve really is a series of scores. The most scores are in the middle, and then fewer to each side, and it's symmetrical. And then you can turn that into a normal curve. Okay, on an IQ test, what does that mean? On an IQ test, the average score is 100, and then standard deviation is 15. What does that mean? IQ, the average score is 100, then 85 to 115 is one standard deviation. 68% of people have that score. Most people have a score between 85 and 115, one standard deviation. Two standard deviations would be 70 to 130. This is normal IQ range. Below 70, they used to call retarded, now they call it impaired. Above 130, they would call gifted. One thing I would be aware of, they like to ask this. What percentage of scores are below the mean? 50. What percentage of scores are within one standard deviation? 2/3. What percentage of scores are within two standard deviations? 95%. They like to ask that. I would be aware of that. All right, mean, median, and mode, and heritability. Just be aware for intelligence and twins, it is nature and nurture. Yes, there is a genetic component to intelligence. That's heritability done with twin studies. All right, then what else here? Mean, median, and mode. All right, testing. Aptitude tests test the future, like the SAT test. It tests how they think you'll do in college. Achievement tests past content, like an AP test is testing on content you already studied. All right, standardization, a standardized test, and norm reference tests. What does this mean? Okay, norms are scores. A normal curve, any standardized test will be on a normal curve. Aptitude tests, abstract. The Flynn effect, people are getting smarter. Stereotype threat, there's been a lot of research that when people feel that some minority groups have done better when the stereotype threat has been explained. Bell curve. Okay, one final thing. A reliable test is repeatable. A valid test measures what it's supposed to measure. So content validity measures content. If you're studying psychology and I give you a test on math that lacks content validity. Okay, so a valid test measures what it's supposed to measure. A reliable test is repeatable, meaning it should get consistent results in the future. Those are two things to be aware of, reliable and valid. All right.